Hey guys, Tarke here, and today I wanted to talk through my next build, but more importantly how I choose builds, since a lot of people are at the point now where they're either starting the league late or they're working on the second character. People have been asking, hey Tarke, what would you recommend? How do I pick a build going into Legion on the reroll or whatever? So, how did I pick my Ele Hit build? How did I come up with the skill tree? One, I liked my MTX. This sounds dumb, but I wanted a skill which made sense with the MTX. I really like the wild set. Marauder, wild set, fire stuff seemed cool. I was like, okay, I want to play fire stuff. I want that to work. That was step one. Two, Legion requires clear speed. I'm like, okay, so I played a little bit of Scourge out of this league, and that was really fun. I want to do more of that kind of gameplay. Don't necessarily want to play Scourge Arrow, since I still find channeling a bit weird. I'm going to go for something with chain or fork built in, loads of nice AoE. Okay, cool. Ele Hit. Right, so that was like the steps. Boom. So, now, how do I pick the ascendancy? How do I do the skill tree? How do I make it all work in a budget? This and the other. I'm in a private league, so I'm a step between like SSF and trade league. So I feel like the kind of items I have access to should be similar to what most people have access to going into the league. So I planned everything around having my 2 combat focus jewels, which is what I need to make the build work. A Frost Furno, because I had one. And that was it. I didn't plan it around anything else. I'm like, I need it to like do enough damage that I can run the content I want to run with just that. So, how did I do everything else? I just put in a whole bunch of rares. Every single rare has tier 2 life, then like tier 2 elemental damage with attacks where relevant. So rings, amulets, and belts, because that is realistic gear. It really annoys when people send me their path of buildings, like, hey, you know, should I be using my Starforge or my Disfavor? And like every single like piece of gear is perfectly tier 1 crafted stuff. And they're like, yeah, so I'm league starting, like what should I go for? Dude, you don't have access to that gear, and if you're good enough to have access to that gear this early into a league, you don't need to be watching a video about how I come up with my shit characters. So, next up, how do you draw the line between playing a meme build, a good build, and then like, oh, but just copying someone else's profile? So, you never want to go full meme. You don't want to be playing, like, for example, Puncture Gladiator. You want to play a build that you know will work, but you've put your own little personal spice and flavor into. So, Ele Hit, for example, is a very tried and tested setup. And I was like, okay, well, how do I want to build it? I really don't like crit builds. Crit is really strong, but it just annoys me having to use a diamond flask. It's not because I don't like using flasks. I love using flasks. Flasks are broken. You should be using flasks. It just irritates me that it like makes your choices I feel like it just makes your choices boring, because it's just using the same shit on every build. Like, okay, it's Zeri's Promise, Crit Flask, Dying Sun, let's go. Obviously not in Zeri's Promise with Avatar Fire, but you get my thought process. I've always liked Ele Overlaid builds. So I'm like, okay, I want to go Ele Overlaid, so I'm going to go non-crit. Okay, so I'm going to be giving up a whole bunch of damage by going non-crit, not having very good gear. I want to play one of the new ascendancies, so I'm not going to go Deadeye. So, what are my options? My options are Slayer, Champion, Zerker, Chieftain. Those are my options. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I want to go for the most exciting one. I want to go for the one which will have the most damage to make up for the fact I have bad gear. What will do the most damage out of all of these? It's either going to be like a fully juiced up crit Slayer, but I don't want to go crit, so I don't want to play that. It's easy to get evade, so not Champion. Alright, I guess it's going to be the Zerky boy. Right, am I realistically going to have Blitz stuff? I don't know. I'm going to have to test how good Blitz feels on an Ele Overload setup. This is what I'm going to try for, but I'm like, just to be realistic, let's pretend that I don't have Blitz. Let's just go for Rite of Rune, Aspect of Carnage, and Pain Reaver. Now, I got to play something new with a skill that I know works, and if I decide that, you know what, I don't need all this damage, I can roleplay Dan and go Jug, be thick, be tanky. So, that's how I picked the Ascendancy options. Now, I know that I want to get Ele Overload, but how else do I route the build? What do I do? Well, you can go on PoE Ninja, and you can just go onto PoE Ninja builds, and then you can get some inspiration. So you're like, okay, so I've kind of got my skill, I've kind of got my Ascendancies. Let's see how people are building Elemental Hit. Now, I know that I want to be going non-crit, so I want to be looking for people who have Elemental Overload in here. This isn't the fastest way of doing it. I can just search here. Elemental Overload. Boom. Right, so now I have a whole bunch of options to choose from. Let's see if the people have the most deeps, since they probably have the best setups. And then we can look at these guys' gears and how they route their trees. And if you follow these kind of steps and these kind of processes, you can kind of go for, okay, so this guy goes for Ele Overload, Avatar of Fire, since he's not using the amulet. Okay, most of you are traveling around the outside of the tree. He takes Acro Phase Acro. What about this guy? Same setup, kind of goes for this. Outside of tree, doesn't take Acro Phase Acro. What about this guy? Okay, so this guy, he's going along the top because he's a ranger. Right, so I kind of roughly know the nodes I want to be hitting from looking at this. Next, you decide up. Do you want to play Acro? Do you want to play Phase Acro? Now, my first character of the league, Lightning Trapper, really good build. I felt really squishy, even though I had a whole bunch of dodge and a whole bunch of evasion, and that's because a big part of Legion is fighting the actual Legion enemies. The Vol guy with the red cloud, that is mostly physical damage. It is being nerfed. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be playing an evasion dodge character. I want to be playing something with a bit of armor, a bit of thickness in it. Okay, so I'm going to play without Acro Phase Acro. I kind of want to use the new guard skills. I'm going to go armor base. I'm going to use Molten Shell. So, okay, so I want to be going for roughly this kind of a skill tree without this bit on the end here. So it's probably going to look slightly more like this. Right, okay, cool. So you can see I didn't take Acro Phase Acro. But why did I go through the middle rather than going through the outside? Well, what are the fun nodes that I know I want to play with, that I enjoy playing with going for these kinds of builds? Ele Hit is a good example for this, because Ele Hit doesn't really need any damage scaling, it just needs life nodes and the nodes that you think are fun and or good. I really like this new cluster, Crystal Skin. Crystal Skin gives 5% reduced LE damage taken, all these minor nodes, chance to avoid fire, chance to avoid lightning, chance to avoid cold. All of these nodes give chance to avoid ailments. If you have this, and then you have 2 items crafted, either gloves, helmet, or chest, with chance to avoid ailments, which is a syndicate craft, with 2 items with that, and this cluster, you are permanently immune to cold, well, freeze, chill, shock, ignite. So that sounds fun. I want to do that. That lets me be more interesting with my flask setup. Let's go for super defensive flasks. All right, cool. Right, so I definitely want to take this cluster. What else do I want to take? I really like Fleet-Footed. I really like Avatar of the Hunt because I really like Dash. I find Dash really fun. So I want to invest in cooldown recovery, and I want to invest in cooldown recovery. Okay, cool. So I've popped those in here. So because of that, I'm rooting through this part of Duelist. I'm not going to the outside because I'm spending my fluff utility points over here. Right, next up, if I'm playing Ele Overload, how do I get my hit chance to feel good with realistic gear? What do I do here? Well, I'm obviously not going to be running Anger. I'm going to use the new aura Precision. So I'm going to cap out at Precision. All right, I want to be tanky, but I still want to do good damage. I'm playing a Berserker. Berserker's got some inbuilt damage in there. I want a good life total. I've got 6.8k life, all tier 2 life rolls, no Combs Heart, no anything. Level 94 build. Okay, realistic. So do I plan around a level 100 build? Do I plan around a level 80 build? What do you plan for? I usually play my characters. I will either play them to 90, then get bored, or I'll push them to mid-90s. I've only got one level 100, so it's not realistic that I'm going to play another 100 unless I really like the build. I'm probably going to quit the character sometime between 90, 95-ish, just so happen to hit 94 with the nodes I want to take. Boom, level 94 build, that's how I plan it out. If you're someone who consistently hits level 98, 97, 96, then plan slightly higher. If you're someone who consistently hits out high 80s or low 90s, then plan your trees slightly lower or higher accordingly. If you're someone who you know that your highest character is like level 86 and you never get past 86, there's no point planning a level 95 tree because whatever. Likewise, if you're someone who consistently hits 99s or 100s every league, there's no reason planning around a level 80 tree because you know you're going to hit those high levels and those high thresholds. Right. So now that I've worked all of that stuff out, how do I work the skills and the setups? Well, I know that I want a chain setup for clearing because using chain on Ele Hit is super satisfying with monoliths. This is just a leveling setup, so it's a bad demonstration. But this is just Ele Hit with GMP, chain, Mirage Archer. That feels really satisfying. So how am I going to have enough damage on a budget setup to run chain? I'm going to have 2 setups. I'm going to have a single target setup, and I'm going to have a clearing setup. So my clearing setup is going to be in my bow or my chest, and my single target setup is going to be in my Frostferno. Okay, that's good. That lets me be a little bit greedy with my setup. Okay, cool. So now that I know how that's going to work out, how do I get the most out of Ele Hit? I'm playing a pure fire build. I want to be running stuff like Combustion. I'm going to be running stuff like Mirage Archer. Well, I can run all of that like utility stuff on my clearing setup, and then my single target setup can be pure boom boom single target. So you can see that my single target setup is a level 21 Ele Hit, because Ele Hit scales hardest with levels, so I just want to get that level 21 corruption as soon as possible. Elemental damage with attacks, Fire Pen, Ele Focus. That's it. There's no point blank shenanigans going on, there's no Chin Soul shenanigans going on. With that gear, we have 650k damage versus the boss. Have I got Frenzy Charges on? No. Do I have Onslaught on? No, because you're not always going to have Onslaught, you're not always going to have Frenzy Charges. Is the enemy covered in Ash? No, because I haven't got a way to cover the enemy in Ash. Is the enemy intimidated? No, because I haven't got a way to intimidate the enemy. It really annoys me when people send me paste spins and every single thing is fucking ticked. Unless this stuff is definitely going to be up, don't tick it up. What can I guarantee I'll have? I can guarantee I'll have Rage on bosses, because you get Rage just from attacking. My whole ascendancy is around Rage. That is the one thing that I can guarantee I will have that on a boss. If I've cleared the whole map and I just attack the boss a little bit, I'm going to have my Rage. Is it realistic that I've been hit recently? Yeah, it's pretty realistic that I've been hit since I'm playing an armor build, I'm not playing an acro build or an invasion build. Well, I've taken a savage hit, that's 15% of my maximum life. If I've been hit, I've probably taken 15%. Yep, that's realistic. That's kind of how you set this up. Skew it a little bit in your favor, because you're probably going to be more around like 40, maybe 30 rage stacks. But like, you build it kind of realistically. Will I have endurance charges? Yes, because I'm planning on using Enduring Cry all the time. Cool. So, what else have we gone for? For my clear setup, I've gone for Ele Hit, Elemental Damage with Attacks, GMP, Chain, Mirage, Archer, Combustion. I can use my Combustion to proc my Ele Hit single target boost. And that's what you need to think about. Are you playing a cold build? How are you going to proc Frostbomb? Are you going to be using Combustion? Are you going to be using Wave of Conviction? Are you going to be using Scorching Ray? What are these little things that you can put into your build, the main, for example, in a realistic manner? So, what am I running aura-wise? I know I want to run Precision, so I've got a good hit chance, I've got a decent crit chance, which I might use for Blitz, or at least I'll use to keep my Ele Overload uptime high. I want to use Herald of Ash for clear, so that's definitely going in. I want something defensive, I want Flesh and Stone, I'll shove that in. How much mana am I left with? 34%. With Enlighten, will I have the Enlighten right away? Maybe not. 28%, that's pretty good. That gives me a little bit that I can work with. I could maybe fit in a Aspect skill or a Banner, but can't guarantee that yet. Haven't tried it out yet, so let's just say that this is kind of what I have here. What am I going to have for movement options? I want to use Dash, I want to use Vol Molten Shell because I want to try it out, and I want to use Blink Arrow. What's the best links for those? Enhance, I'm going to shove an Enhance in there. I have a level 3 Enhance already, so I know that will definitely work. Cool. How am I going to deal with stuff like Porcupines? How am I going to apply my curses? What am I going to do there? Right, well, I'll set up some kind of cast and damage taken setup. I would probably run a cast and damage taken Enfeeble for defensive curses. That needs to be a lower level Enfeeble. I'm going to run a cold snapping cast and damage taken, so I'm applying chills. That's also a way to generate frenzy charges. And I'll have a flesh offering, because flesh offering is a way to destroy porcupine corpses. I'm going to have an enduring cry increase to AoE somewhere. This is probably going to be a 4-link and a 2-link. Okay, everything seems kind of realistic. What are things that I could still fit into this build if I wanted to min-max? I could fit in Ele Weakness, I could fit in Tomb Fists, I could fit in all sorts of random gear. But if you're at this point of the league, you can't guarantee you'll have all of that stuff unless you're someone who doesn't need to be watching this video right now. So, how to realistically pick builds you know are good for the content. What content do you want to do? I want a map clear, I want to do Legion, cool. What if I do want to boss in the future? Can I boss in this build? Well, I can equip Point Blank, and I can then get some gear investment. And then when I start ticking all these random boxes, and I have all these things, oh, 1.5 mil, that's going to be enough for the boss if I want to boss. What's that going to require? 2 points on the skill tree. Am I using a Chin Soul or anything? Nope. Am I using any crazy, like, mirror-worthy fossil gear? Nope. Okay, yep, this is a realistic build that I could go for and be happy with and be able to clear all the content that I want to in the game. Other very easy skills to go for if you're like trying to come up with builds that require very minimal investments. Herald of Agony is still amazing. Spectres are still amazing. Essence Drain is obviously still amazing. On that note, Toxic Rain, Caustic Arrow, Vortex. Most spells, the reason why a lot of people go for spells in general is they scale with just plus levels. I've always just been very attracted to plus level type skills. I've always had an affinity for stuff like Caustic Arrow, Explosive Arrow, Ele Hit now. I've always just been attracted to that gameplay personally. If you're like, okay, but Tarke, I want to play a new melee build, like how am I going to play a melee build and still do damage? Well, Earthquake, very realistic. Just go Resolute Technique, get Earthquake, get a bunch of stuff. If you played it as a Slayer, eventually with good enough gear, you could maybe transition to crit. But be kind of realistic with how you go about picking your build options. Anyway, I'm Tarke. This is what I'll be playing next. Always, always plan your build options around your MTX combos. Have a good day. Bye-bye.